Okay, now let's understand how we'll make the component algebra solution of this. So in the component algebra solution, what you do is you pick up the three vectors A, B, and C from the original diagram, and instead of drawing them head to tail, to form the summation thing, you draw them from a common origin so that we can write them in component form. Okay, so from the above diagram, the original triangle diagram that I had made, if you just pick up the individual vectors A, B, and C and put them on the origin over here. So you can see that the vector A is something like this. The vector B excuse me guys. So the vector B in the same diagram would be in the second quadrant because it's making 120. So vector B's magnitude is 2 and the angle with respect to E, which is the same as the angle with the x-axis, becomes 120. And now in the same diagram, the vector C would be like this. It would be a vector making an angle of 120 with B. So that means with A it is making 120 plus 120, so 240 degrees. Okay. So this is the vector C. This angle is 120. Okay. So now you can see that you can write A, B, and C in individual component form. So the vector A is just I cap. The vector B, how will we write? So for that you can see B's x component is 2 cos 120. So that's minus 1. And B's y component is 2 sine 120. So that is root 3 by 2. Now write B in component form. Similarly, write C in component form. C's x component you can see will become 3 cos 240. So that will become minus 3 by 2. And C's y component will be 3 sine 240. So that will be minus 3 root 3 by 2. Now write them in component form, then find the resultant. Okay. And then from that, find the magnitude of the resultant. Okay. And the angle between R and E. So that angle will become cos inverse R dot A divided by RE. But A is anyway a unit vector along the x-axis, so it's very simple. So just try this out by this method also. So just finish this by this method and verify that it should give you the same result as we've got by the earlier method. Okay, so those who have doubts from the major test, just hang on. Let me finish these doubts from the exercise first. So next up, we will look at question number 8 from exercise 1, and we'll also look at question number 6. Actually, 6 I've just done. 6 and 7 are done. So 8, 11, and 13. 12 also. Okay. Yeah, that's correct. That is into 2 here. So this becomes root 3. Correct. Okay. So anyway, you should be getting the same solution once you incorporate these components here. So you can see that B is becoming minus I cap plus root 3 j cap, and C is becoming minus 3 by 2 I cap minus 3 root 3 by 2 j cap. So now adding these vectors, and you will see that the resultant is minus 3 by 2 I cap, and 1 minus 3 by 2 is minus half. So this will become minus root 3 by 2 j cap. So the magnitude of the resultant will become square root of 3 by 2 whole square plus root 3 by 2 whole square. That's root 12, so that becomes so root 3. Root 3 is the magnitude of the resultant, same thing we had got, and this thing here becomes cos inverse of this vector, dot product with this vector, so that is minus 3 by 2 divided by mod of r, which we have just seen is root 3, okay, into mod of a, which is of course 1. So that's cos inverse of minus 1 by root 3. Okay, so properly trigonometrically speaking, this is 150 degrees. But since 150 is not given in any of the options, so we can also take, so 150 is like this. So that's the same thing as 210 anti-clockwise. Okay. So just finish writing this and let's move on to question number 8. 8 is just about dot product, people. Okay, so very quickly I'll show you question number 8. So in question 8, some force is given to us. Okay. And it said that the displacement is along the y-axis. Okay. So it is something j cap. So the particle is constrained to move along the y-axis through a distance of 10 meter it now moves. So it's 10 j cap in meters, and the force is given to us similarly having components minus 2, 15, and something minus 2 I cap plus 15 j cap plus 6 k cap, all in newtons. So the work done by this force by definition is F dot S. Okay. So take the dot product of this two, so it will become minus 2 into 0 plus 15 into 10 plus 6 into 0, so that is plus 150, and the unit will be Newton meter, or that's the same thing as joules. So the work done by this force is positive and is equal to 150 joules. Right, so note this down quickly. Let's move on to question number 11 next. So next we are looking at question 11, 12 and 13. All three have been asked. Okay, so hope this is done. Move on to 11th question next. So 11th question also I'll show you very quickly. It's a simple kind of question. So it says that your initial velocity is, how much is it? 10 meters, sorry, 5 meters per second towards east. Okay. So you can show the initial velocity vector like this, let's say, towards east. So this is the V initial. Okay. Then after 10 seconds, so after a time interval of 10 seconds, it turns and changes to a final velocity, which is 5 meters per second northwards. Okay. So that in the same diagram, we can now represent with this vector. 5 meters per second, okay, at 90 degrees. So we have to find the average acceleration. Average acceleration is defined as change in velocity upon change in time. So that is final minus initial upon the time interval. Now in the diagram you can see that the final minus initial will be this one, going from initial to final. Okay. So this will be your change in velocity. This will be delta V, or V final minus V initial. So because this side is equal to this side, this will be at 45 degrees. Okay. So you can see this is the north direction, this is the west direction, and its magnitude will become 5 root 2. So it will be 5 root 2 towards northwest, divided by this time interval, which was 10 seconds from above, and this is in meter per second divided by this in second. So it will become root 2 by 2, or that's the same thing as 1 by root 2 meters per second square towards northwest. Because you can see this direction like this, it is bisecting the direction between north and west. This angle is 45 like that. Okay. So your average acceleration vector will be along this sort of direction. So note this down quickly, and let's move on to 12th question. Okay, so 12th I'll explain in a little bit detail. So just write this down first. Prince, we got that from the geometry of the triangle, na? It's isosceles right angle triangle. So hypotenuse will become side length into root 2. Okay. So I see a couple of you have doubts in the previous question. Let me just go back here. Yeah, so see, steps up to the components are clear here. These things are all clear, I hope. So you got this vector, this, okay. Now you're adding these, no? So the x component is 1 minus 1 minus 3 by 2. So that's how it's becoming minus 3 by 2. And the y component is this. It is 0 plus root 3 minus 3 root 3 by 2. So that is the same thing as 1 minus 3 by 2 into root 3. So that is the same thing as minus root 3 by 2. That's how we got this. So that is the resultant's y component. No? Okay, good. Okay, so hope that question is clear to all of you. Okay. Now let's come to 12th question. Acha, 11th, you want to just note down just a second. Yeah, just finish writing this down. Okay. You can also do this in component form. You can just write the initial velocity as 5 I cap, the final velocity as 5 j cap. So the change in velocity, this final minus initial, will become 5 j cap minus 5 I cap. So your average acceleration will become minus 5 I cap plus 5 j cap divided by 10. Okay, so you can do it this way also. You can see it's minus 0.5 I cap plus 0.5 j cap. Now you can find the magnitude and direction of this vector quite easily and show that it's this thing. This thing only. So that's another way you can do this question. Okay. Now moving on, let's come to the 12th question. So in 12th question, it's saying that at a particular point, you have 5 forces acting. So let's say, this is going to be like the type of questions we do in Newton's laws in the next chapter, that type of situation. So you have like a particular particle or a point object or something. Now on that, there are 5 forces which are acting of same magnitude. Okay. And they are acting in such a way that they have equal angle between them. So let's interpret that statement. Equal angle between them का क्या मतलब है ना? So if these are our forces, let's say one of them is like this, then another one is say like this, then another one is say like this, another one is this, finally the last one is like this. So let's say these are our 5 forces. So they are forces F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Now the thing about these forces is that they are firstly all the same in magnitude. Okay, so I'll just modify that a little here because this one doesn't look like Okay, so first of all, they are all the same in magnitude. So magnitude of F1 is equal to magnitude of F2, same as 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, so that is some F, let's say. Okay. And the other thing is that the angle between all pairs is equal. So this theta is the same for all of them. So theta, as you can see from the diagram, will become 360 divided by 5 or 72 degrees. Okay. Now we have to find the resultant of these. Now you will see that relying on component algebra or something is a little tricky here because we don't know sine, cos, tan of 72. However, if we try to draw a geometrical solution of this, okay, so find the resultant by geometry, you will come to an interesting conclusion. Okay, geometrically speaking, the conclusion you will come to is based on basically the geometry of regular polygon. In this case, it will become a pentagon. So if you draw your first f1 vector, then on top of that you draw the second vector, so that's at 72 degrees, okay, to this same magnitude. Then on top of that you draw the third one, so that is at 72 degrees to this. On top of that, you draw the fourth one that's at 72 to this. And finally, the fifth one. You'll be forced to come to the conclusion that they form a regular polygon, in this case, a regular pentagon. Okay, because you now just correlate this with the diagram above. Okay, so this is your F1, so whatever magnitude F. Now this angle is your theta, which is 72 degrees. So this is your F2, which has the same magnitude F. Now again, this is at an angle of theta with respect to this, which is 72 degrees. Okay. Again, you turn by 72 degrees, make another force vector of the same magnitude F, and then finally make one last turn. So there are 5 turns in all, but each of them is 72 degrees. Okay. Now, why you know this will become a closed shape is because if you just compare this with the regular pentagon, so I'm just doing that comparison aside over here. Okay. So anyhow, something like this. Now, if these sides are all equal, okay, that means that when you join all the sides at the centroid, you will get these 5 congruent triangles such that now because these sides are equal, these angles will have to be equal. Okay. So each of these theta will be 360 by 5, 72 degrees. Okay. So now that also means that, see, now within this, because of the symmetry, this side is equal to this side. So this angle, suppose alpha, is equal to this angle. And all these triangles are congruent. So these angles are also the same. So now you can see what are these exterior angles. These exterior angles, let's say beta, they are 180 minus 2 alpha. This is the same thing as theta. So this is the same thing as theta, that is 72 degrees. So the comparison of the geometry of the regular pentagon with this shows me that it is forming a closed shape. Okay. So anyway, you can see in these alpha is 180 minus theta by 2. So that will be 90 minus 36. So anyway, so this comparison shows that drawn head to tail in succession, okay, the vectors f1, f2 up to f5, they form a regular pentagon, and moreover they form a closed shape. Because they form a closed shape, it means that their resultant is how much? It's 0. This is becoming a null vector. Why is becoming a null vector? Because you can see the origin of the first vector is coinciding with the head of the last vector. If I disturb any of the symmetries in this will not be the case. Like even one of the five forces, if it's not the same in magnitude, then it will change. Or if the angles are not 72 each, all of them, okay, one angle is more than 72, one is less than 72, whatever, then again this symmetry will not be true. Okay, so this was question number 12. So finish writing this and come to question 13 next. Okay, people, so this is done, I hope. Now, 13th question is again something you can understand quite easily. It's a kinematics type of problem. So it's like this, that you have a particle which is starting at t equal to 0 from this point. जिसके coordinates मुझे पता है 1, 0, 0. Now it is moving towards another point whose coordinates are given to me. So let's say it's moving from this point directly towards another point. Okay. Somewhere here, let's say. So let's say this point was A and this point is B. And this point's coordinates are given to me as 4, 4, 12. Okay. Has also given to me that while it is making this journey, it's doing so at a constant velocity. So that velocity vector, if it's going along a straight line with constant speed, that velocity vector has to be constant and it has to be along this direction. So if this is the velocity vector, now given to us that velocity vector's magnitude is constant and is equal to, how much is it now? 65 meters per second. Okay. So we have to find the position in terms of x, y, z coordinate at t equal to 2 seconds. Okay. So let's say now right now I don't know whether t equal to 2 seconds may it would have overshot this point or it would still be before that. So let's say it reaches somewhere here. It reaches some third point C at t equal to 2 seconds. This third point may well be beyond this also, I don't know, but this has some coordinates x, y, z which I need to calculate. Okay. So what we can do here is we can understand that the displacement from A to C will be velocity into 2 seconds. Okay. And the displacement from A to B is velocity into some unknown time. We don't know this time. Okay. Which is somewhere here. Okay. And we know the magnitude of the velocities. Okay. So if you compare these two vectors, you can see that the unit vector of AC is the same as the unit vector of AB. Okay. And that unit vector, now you can also see this displacement A to B is a very easy displacement to calculate. It is nothing but 4 minus 1 I cap plus 4 minus 0 j cap plus 12 minus 0 k cap. So it is nothing but 3 I cap plus 4 j cap plus 12 k cap. So this is the displacement from A to B. Okay. So whereas this one would be that unknown x minus 1 I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap. So using this fact, so one of the things we can do is that the velocity's unit vector is also the same as these displacements unit vector. Okay. So you can see that the velocity's unit vector is SAB divided by magnitude of SAB. So that is 3 I cap plus 4 j cap plus 12 k cap divided by this, which you know is 13. If you do this calculation, that 3 square plus 4 square plus 12 square is 9 plus 16 plus 144. So that becomes 169, which is 13 square. Okay, so you know that this will be 13. So this is the unit vector of velocity, or same thing as the unit vector of the displacement AB. So therefore velocity vector can be written as speed multiplied by its unit vector. So the speed was given to us as 65 meters per second. Into this unit vector we are now getting as 3 plus 4 plus 12 divided by its magnitude. Okay. So the velocity vector becomes 15 I cap plus 20 j cap plus 60 k cap in meters per second, because the speed was in meters per second. So now you can see that therefore the displacement from A to C, was this velocity multiplied by 2 seconds. So that's 30 I cap plus 40 j cap plus 120 k cap, and this displacement should be nothing but x minus 1 I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap, because the coordinates of the point C were x, y, z, and the coordinates of the point A were 1, 0, 0. So the displacement from here to here should be like this. So from this, by comparison, you can see x is 31, y is 40, and z is 120. So this is the coordinates of the point 31, 40, 120 will be the coordinates of the point C, where the particle is at t equal to 2 seconds. Okay. So this is a typical kind of way in which we can make use of vector algebra in a kinematics kind of situation. Now you can see. Yeah, Kanishk, I'll explain the major test question. So वहाँ पे क्या था ना कि out of the 5 vectors of the pentagon, only 4 were present. So the resultant was the 5th side which was missing. But here all 5 sides are already there as vectors. So the resultant is becoming 0. Okay. So I think since it's nearing 9 o'clock now, it is 9 o'clock in fact, I will move on to the major test discussion. Okay, and the remaining questions from your this thing, worksheet 7, so anyway we have to do in class, don't worry. And the remaining questions from exercise 2 also, which many of you have shown, exercise 2, 3, etc., we will discuss in the class. Okay, let me move on to the discussion of the some of the test paper questions. Okay, so I'm going to share a different document now. Okay, so this is the set of vectors questions. So just go through them, and whichever question you feel you require to discuss with me. The ordering here is different than the ordering in your test paper, but it's the same set of questions, so don't worry. Okay, so is the first question clear to all of you? You have to find the angle of the vector E with respect to the y-axis. So you have to just find this direction cosine actually. Yeah, I'll come to all the questions. Okay, don't worry. So just take a look at the first question to begin with. So what is happening is you are asked to find the angle with the y-axis. So that angle is nothing but beta. So you use the direction cosine concept, that cos beta is the y component of the vector divided by magnitude of the vector. So if you do this here, the y component is minus root 2, and the magnitude of the vector is square root of 4 plus 2 plus 2. So that is 2 root 2. Okay. So you can see this will become minus half. So cos beta is minus half, means that beta will become 120 degrees. So therefore this is the correct answer. Okay. Then similarly, the second question is very easy. So I'm not going to get fully into this. In second question, you make use of dot product. Okay, that theta is cos inverse of A dot B divided by AB. Use this formula always for finding the angle between two vectors. Whereas this was the formula for direction cosine with respect to y-axis. So these two are more or less formula based questions. Okay. So any doubt in these two questions, please let me know. Okay, otherwise I'm moving on to the next. Okay, now next couple of questions. Yeah, now the projection based question has come. Let's discuss about this. Okay. So projection based question always is like this. Remember that first you visualize. Okay. Obviously in the exam you won't sit and visualize. You should know this. Okay. But let's here try to understand what the question means. So if we have to find the projection of A on B. So if this is a vector B and suppose this is a vector A and the angle between them is some theta. So this is of magnitude A. Okay. So what we mean by the projection of A along B is drop this perpendicular and this is the parallel component. Okay. So that parallel component has a magnitude of A cos theta. So this is what we have to do in this case because you can see the options are all in terms of scalars. Okay. But if you also want to express this as a vector quantity, then it will become A cos theta into the unit vector of B, where B cap is the vector V divided by magnitude of B. So that's how we calculate the parallel component. And similarly, if you want to find the perpendicular component, that is this one. Okay. So that is a projection of A perpendicular to B. So once you get this, from this now you can see you can also calculate the perpendicular component as A minus A parallel. So anyway, in this particular question, we just had to use this. So how we get this A cos theta? A cos theta again comes from dot product. It is A dot B divided by magnitude of B. So now just calculate A dot B divided by, from these two vectors. So you can see that A dot B kitna ho ja raha hai? It is becoming 4 minus 3, so that is 1. And magnitude of B is how much? It is, just a second, okay. Not able to see, huh? So 4 minus 3, that's 1. And magnitude of B is how much? It's 5. Okay. So, yeah, so this will become how much? Just a second. This is K cap, huh? So this will not be this. This will just be 4. Okay, so the dot product is not this. The dot product is in fact, so when you work out the dot product, you can see it is 4 into 1 plus 1 into 0 plus 0 into minus 3. So the dot product is 4. Okay, and the magnitude of B you can see is root of 4 square plus 3 square. So that's 5. Okay, so this is becoming the answer 0.8 or 4 by 5. So you can see this is the correct answer. So anyway, this is a general concept of projections. We'll be discussing a lot of questions based on projections from assignment 7 also. Okay, now let's come to the next one. This also is a fairly easy question, you can see. You are given this, okay, and you have to find A dot B. So basically you have to find this dot product is nothing but AB cos theta. Okay, so that's very easy. A plus B is square root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. So square both the sides. Okay, so mod of A plus B whole square is A square plus B square plus 2 times A dot B. You can interpret it like this. So this thing is actually 2 times A dot B, and this is what we want to calculate. Now we know that A is of magnitude 4, B is of magnitude 2, and A plus B is of magnitude 4. Okay, so from this you can see that 4 plus 2 A dot B is 0. So that means A dot B is minus 2. That's it. So this becomes the answer. So basically you made use of triangle law. Okay people, so hope this question is clear. Okay, good. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, so in this you have to find, now this is a more complicated question. So let's discuss this in detail. So here what we have to do is we have to find, just a moment. Okay. Yeah, so we have to find, given the vectors A and B, we have to find a vector C which is of magnitude 3, but it is perpendicular to the plane of A and B. So what does this statement mean? This statement means that C is perpendicular to A and C is also perpendicular to B. Okay, so therefore you know that C's unit vector is nothing but plus or minus of A cross B's unit vector, because E cross B has that property that it is perpendicular to the plane of A and B. Okay, so therefore C vector now will just become this magnitude which is 3 into that unit vector. So it will be 3 times C cap. So you can say that it is plus minus 3 times the unit vector of A cross B. This thing. So is this concept clear, this one here? You draw any two vectors. Let's say this is A and this is B. Now in this case, what should be the direction of C? C is perpendicular to the plane of A and B. So that means C is either coming out, okay, or going into the plane. Okay. Whereas you can see A cross B here. A cross B is coming out. Okay. So A cross B is unit vector will be coming out of the plane. So this is that plus minus n cap, where n cap is okay like this. So now let's see how we'll proceed. So you know the vector A, you know the vector B. So from that, the first thing you do is you calculate A cross B. Okay, so A cross B is given by this matrix here. So I've directly shown it here. You can work it out. So you can see it's minus 2, minus 1. So that's minus 3 I cap. Okay. Then J goes with minus 2. Okay. minus 1, so that's again minus 3, but j has an extra minus sign, so j cap component becomes positive, and k cap ka is 1 minus 1, so it's 0 k cap, so it's 3 I cap plus 3 j cap. So this is what, this is your A cross B. Okay, so this one's unit vector n cap will just become 3 I cap plus 3 j cap divided by its own mod. Okay, so that is further nothing but 3 I cap plus 3 j cap divided by 3 root 2. Yeah. So the unit vector is I cap plus j cap by root 2. Okay, so this thing is this now. So this unit vector, okay. So as you can see is either plus or minus of 3 into n cap. So this is one option that can be correct, whereas this option is not correct, this option is not correct, this option is not correct. वैसे तो see, you can also do this question by elimination. You can check the dot product of C with A and B. It should be 0. So this will get ruled out, this will get ruled out, this will get ruled out. But the proper way of doing this question is like this. No, it is not minus 3 I cap beta. It's this only. You see, it is, okay, A cross B. The I cap component is, yeah, it's minus this. Oh, my mistake. Yeah. Wait. This is minus 3. So I got the wrong answer here. This is minus 3 I cap. Okay. So this is also minus 3. So this is also minus. So this will be minus I cap. Okay. So this final thing will have minus I cap plus j cap by root 2. So that means now my correct answer is which one? My correct answer is this one. No. Yeah, this one is correct because it's plus minus. So whereas this one is wrong. This is the correct one. Okay. Because of this minus sign, but then here it's plus minus. So it can either be I cap minus j cap by root 2 or minus I cap plus j cap by root 2, that multiplied by 3. Okay, so people, is this question clear? Yes, option A will be correct, Prince. Okay, you understood now why option A will be correct? Because it is minus 3 n cap. Now, option A is minus of 3 into minus I cap plus j cap by root 2. Okay, so can I clear this now? This is done. Okay. Okay, next let's look at this question. Scalar product of two vectors is 0. So what does this mean? This means dot product is 0, or this means the vectors are perpendicular to each other and the resultant sum is 20. Now when two vectors are perpendicular to each other, what is the resultant sum? It is root of a square plus b square. So it's very simple. So this is how we'll interpret this question. So see, the fact that the scalar product is 0, that means that A is perpendicular to B, or theta is equal to 90 degrees. So that also means that the resultant sum, उसका magnitude कितना हो जाएगा? By definition it will be root of a square plus b square, and that is 20. And one of the vectors is, let's say A is 16. Now we can find B. Okay, so 16 square plus b square is equal to 20 square. So obviously b will come out to be, now in general it's plus minus, but here b is a magnitude of a vector, so it should not have algebraic sign, so it will be 12. Okay, So now we know this. So now coming back to the cross product. So A cross B now will have a magnitude of AB because theta is 90 degrees. Okay. So that will become A's magnitude, which was 16, into B's magnitude, which is 12. Okay. So you can see this is the correct answer. So indirect question tha. First you find the magnitude of B using the fact that they are perpendicular vectors. And once you got the magnitude, you know that A cross B's magnitude will just be AB sine 90. So that is A into B. Okay, so hope this question is also clear to all of you. Last step में देखो, see what we are doing is, once we got the magnitude of B, now next thing what we have to do, we have to find, okay, so I've got this, okay, and I already given that this is 16, and I already found out that theta was 90. So next step I have to find out A cross B's magnitude. So that is AB sine theta. So here just substitute. So it is 16 into 12 into sine 90. Okay, so that's becoming 16 into 12. So that's becoming 190. Okay, is it clear now, beta? Anmol, the last step is clear, I hope. Yes, good. Okay. So move on to the next question if you finish this. Okay. Okay. Now this question, the next one, you can actually relate directly with the property of the rhombus. If the angle between two vectors theta is equal to 60 degrees and the angle of A plus B with respect to A, that angle is alpha. So that alpha happens to be theta by 2. So that means your parallelogram is a rhombus because the diagonal is bisecting the angle. So diagonal is angular bisector. So angular bisector एक ही केस में होता है. That is the case of the rhombus. So that is like the easiest way of understanding the question. Without doing any calculation, then you can proceed next in this. Okay. So if you go by that method, so once you understand that this is a rhombus, so mod A is equal to mod B. So you can just easily work it out this way. Just a second. Yeah. So the moment you worked it out that it's a rhombus, using this information that theta is 60 and alpha is theta by 2. Okay. So that means it's rhombus. So you know that this option is correct. You know that this option is also correct, because diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular. Okay, so their dot product should be 0. Okay, then see what is the next thing we know. We also know that in a rhombus, okay, I mean in this case, E cross B is magnitude. Okay, so that is E square sine 60. So it's root 3 by 2 E square, because theta here you can see is 60 degrees. You also know that E dot B, okay, okay, is AB cos theta. So that's becoming E square cos 60. So that is E square by 2. So from this and this you can see that E cross B अपॉन ए डॉट बी कितना हो जाएगा? This divided by this, so that's root 3. Okay, so from this you can see that this option is also correct. Okay, and obviously this option is wrong because just compare it with this. So which option we have to mark now? We have to mark the incorrect option. Okay, so incorrect option will be this one. Okay, so our answer becomes D. Alright, so hope this question is also clear, people. Okay, let's move on to the next couple of questions. Okay, so again, this is that projection thing. So how we have to do this question is that, if this is the vector B, this is the vector E, and this angle is theta. So start by making the projections of E, which is parallel to this, and then subtract that from this one and find this one. So you can see that E parallel as a magnitude is A cos theta, that is E dot B divided by mod B. So when you work that out here, this will come out to be minus 2 by root 6 when you work this out. Okay. And B cap as a unit vector, that B cap is this vector divided by its magnitude. So it's minus I cap minus j cap minus 2k cap divided by root 6. So the product of these two things will give you this. So this is your parallel component. It's minus I cap plus j cap. Sorry, this should be minus j cap here. Oh no, you're multiplying the minus sign, so this should be plus. Okay. So anyway, let's okay. So let's just check this out. So A dot B कितना आ रहा है? 1 into 1. Okay. Minus 1 minus 2. So that's minus 2. Okay. So that's correct. Okay. Mod B we've just seen 1 plus 1 plus 4. So that's root 6. So this is also correct. And B cap is the vector B, that is I minus j minus 2k divided by its magnitude. Okay. So this is also correct. Okay. So now when you multiply this is correct. Okay, my mistake. This was correct only. Okay. So just multiply these two. So you'll get this. So this is your A parallel. It is minus I cap plus j cap plus 2k cap. Okay. Into this 2 by so root 6 into root 6, so that will just become 6. So this is your E parallel. So now E perpendicular कैसे निकालेंगे? E perpendicular will be the vector E minus E parallel. So if you just take this vector here, which was E, yes, I plus j plus k, and from that you have to subtract this vector, which is minus I plus j plus 2k whole thing divided by 3. So when you do that calculation, you should get this. So in a sense, this is a direct formula based question. Okay, so let me just check if the option is correct. The option is E. This is the correct answer. You can see ये कितना हो जाएगा, देखो, this is 1 plus 1 by 3 is the x component when you're subtracting, then 1 minus 1 by 3, this is the y component, and then 1 minus 2 by 3, okay, so this is 4 I cap plus 2j cap plus k cap, the whole thing divided by 3. So option A is correct, and that is the answer also. That's the answer given in the key. Yeah. Now, once this thing you're asking is a factual thing. The vector E in this diagram only, you can see in this diagram, you can understand that this vector is the sum of these two. No? So this is a factual matter. Any vector is the sum of its components. No? Okay, so that clears this question. Now, this was a slightly tricky question, so let me explain to you. Okay. So यहाँ पे देखो क्या हो रहा है in this particular question. Okay, it's given to us that C is the midpoint of the line AB. Okay, that means AC is equal to CB. Okay, which also means that because it's along a straight line, the vector AC is equal to the vector CB. Okay, so let us say this is some new vector D, suppose. So coming back to this diagram, you can now see that this vector here from A to C, if that is the vector D, then this vector from B to C is also the same. That's also D. Okay. Now in a normal vector diagram, if you have two vectors drawn from some point like this, let's say this is vector A and this is vector B, then if I now draw a third vector from head to head, it's nothing but the difference. So this vector here is how much? It is A minus B. So apply this concept now to this triangle first and then also to this triangle. So in the first of the two triangles, you'll get C minus A is equal to this vector D. Whatever this vector is, it's basically half of AB. Okay. and in the second triangle you'll get B minus C, okay, is equal to D. So if you now compare these two equations, now you can see that C minus A is equal to B minus C. Okay. So what we'll see is that therefore B minus A is equal to 2C. Now we can compare all the options. Okay. So you can see that this option is directly correct. Okay. Now you can also see that incorrect statement निकालना. Okay. So oh sorry, this is B plus A. No, you're bringing this to this side. Okay. So A plus B is 2C. This statement is also correct. Okay. Now how we'll check this statement? Okay. So for checking this statement, what you can do is you can add these two. Okay. So equation 1 plus 2 कर दो. So you have B minus A on the left hand side, and that is equal to, on the right hand side, 2D. Okay. So now you can see that I have B minus A on the left hand side. So this is this. Now I have to check this option in terms of C minus A. Okay. So again you can see that substitute D from equation 1. So that is how much? 2D is nothing but 2 times C minus A. Okay. So that's why my B minus A will become 2 times C minus A. So that shows that this option is also correct. Okay. But this option is wrong because we already know that this is correct. Okay. A plus B is 2C. So the correct answer here will become D because you have to mark the incorrect option. So just make a note of this. This is the slightly tricky question in this. Okay, people. So we are a little short of time, so we'll conclude here today. The remaining few questions of the this thing of the test I will discuss in the lecture itself, along with from module 7, and I mean from assignment 7, whatever doubts we have anyway we'll discuss in class. In any case, we just have a couple of more questions, so we'll discuss that, don't worry. Okay, so I'll discuss the remaining questions in the lecture, next week's lecture or doubt session or whatever. Okay, so let's conclude here today. Okay, so thanks for attending. That's it, people, and thanks for all your wishes. Okay, have a nice day, everyone.